Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fit and fine. So dear students, let us continue with the explanation of poem 2, an elementary school classroom in a slum in your flamingo. Okay, so in my last video I explained one stanza, but in this video once again I am going to explain this poem from beginning. Okay, so you all please take out your book and open your book at page number 93. Page number 93, poem 2, an elementary school classroom in a slum, written by Stephen Spender. So I hope you all are ready with your book. About the poet Stephen Spender, 1909 to 1995, was an English poet and an essayist. He left University College, Oxford, without taking a degree and went to Berlin in 1930. Spender took a keen interest in politics and declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. Books by Spender include Poems of Dedication, The Age of Being, The Creative Element, The Struggle of the Modern, and an autobiography, World Within World. In an elementary school classroom in a slum, he has concentrated on theme of social injustice and class inequalities. Before we begin to read here, the poet asks her a question. Have you ever visited or seen an elementary school in a slum? What does it look like? The poet asks her a question that how a slum school look like. Okay, so have you ever visited or seen an elementary school in a slum? What does it look like? Now let us go through the first stanza. Far, far from gusty waves, the children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor. The tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk, at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel game, in a tree room other than this. In the first stanza, the poet says that the poet describes the pitiable condition of the children who are sitting in an elementary school of slum. The poet described the pitiable condition of slum children. The poet says, far, far from gusty waves, the children's faces. The children, they are far away from the violent waves of the sea. The children are far away from the violent waves of the sea, and their faces are like rootless weeds, their hair torn round their pallor. You know what is rootless weeds? An unwanted plant. So their faces are like rootless weeds. They have, because of malnutrition, their faces have become like rootless weeds, and their hair were scattering on their face. Their hair were dry and they were scattering on their face. The tall girl with the weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. The tall girl with her weighed down head. In the classroom, a tall girl is sitting with her, you know, weighed down head. Weighed down head means she was depressed due to burden. The girl is depressed due to burden, of poverty, because of malnutrition. So due to burden of poverty, this girl is depressed. The paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones. Further, the poet says that a boy who is sitting there who is lean and thin. Paper seeming boy means a lean and thin boy is sitting in the classroom with rat's eyes, and his eyes were like a rat. The stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, and he is his development, his growth now is prevented. His development, his growth is prevented, and he is unlucky heir of twisted bones, and he is having twisted bones. And from where he got this twisted bones? So he inherited this twisted bones from his father, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his test. So he is a boy who has inherited gnarled disease from his father. He is reciting. Reciting means he is telling, he is showing the same disease which his father was suffering with. The boy is also suffering with that gnarled disease. At the back of the dim class, one unnoted and sweet young, and at the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young boy is sitting. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's games, and eyes of this boy is lost in squirrel's game. He is not concentrating, he is not paying attention on what is being taught in the class. Okay, he was thinking, he wanted to free like a squirrel, the way squirrel plays the game in the jungle, in the hollow of the tree. So in the same way, the boy wanted to, he is hoping to get rid of this slum in the tree room other than this. So he was thinking the squirrel's game. So at some extent he was hoping for the freedom. He also wants to be free, like a squirrel plays the game in the jungle, in the forest. Okay. So in the first stanza, let me write some hard words and their meanings. Gusty. Gusty means stormy. Gusty means stormy. Weighed down head. Weighed down head. Depressed due to burden, depressed due to burden. Seeming boy here, paper seeming boy. Paper seeming boy, lean and thin boy. Reciting means telling. Reciting. Telling. Okay. So these are some words and their meanings from stanza 1. Now dear students, what we have seen in stanza 1. So I hope you have written these words and their meanings. I am going to rub them. We have seen in the stanza 1 that, let us once again recall what we have seen. The poet describes the pitiable condition. Sorry, let me turn on the light. The poet describes the pitiable condition of slum children. The poet describes the pitiable condition of slum children. The poet tells us how these children were deprived of, how these children are deprived of, how these children are deprived in every way. These children are deprived in every way. They are the victim of malnutrition. They are the victim of malnutrition. Okay, as we have seen, a stunted boy whose growth is prevented, a paper seeming boy, a boy who is lean and thin, and the girl whose head, who is depressed due to burden. So these things shows that they are the victim of malnutrition. And also the boy is inherited by father's disease. Okay, now let us discuss stanza 2. Look at stanza 2. On sour cream walls, donations Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized storm riding all cities, belled flowery Tyrolese valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world where all their futures painted with the fog. A narrow street scaled with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of the worlds. In the second stanza, the poet describes the appearance of the wall of the classroom. The poet describes the appearance of the classroom on the sour cream walls. It is sour cream walls. It is colorless. It has become, the wall has become colorless, in a bad condition. Okay, sour cream wall. It is colorless, faded cream wall. Donations, and on the wall the name of the people who gave the donation, okay, to, you know, for construction of school, their name are written on the sour cream wall. The people who have given the donations for the school, their names are written. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. And what more are there? Shakespeare's bust, Shakespeare's head is there. On the wall, the picture of Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. Cloudless dawn. So he also, the poet also says that on the wall, a picture of cloudless dawn and cloudless dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, belled flowery Tyrolese valley. So belled, full of the flowers, Tyrolese, the picture of Tyrolese valley is there. So all these things which are on the map showing the world of rich and civilized people, showing the other world which is very different from the world where these children live in. These children live in a slum area. They are deprived in every way. They do not have basic amenities. On the other hand, the map is showing the picture which are full of beauty, which shows the rich world, okay, which shows the civilized world. Open-handed map awarding the world its world. Open-handed map, the map which had been made by the rich people here, being imposed to these children. The map which was made by the rich people are is being imposed on these children, because these children, that map for these children, it is of no use because they live in slum. Okay, their life is painted with fog. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, were all their futures painted with fog. And even though for these children, the window, the classroom, the slum classroom where they live, it is their world, and the world which showing on the map, which is showed on the map, which is showing beauty, which is showing, the world of rich people, the world of civilized people. So this map is no use for these children. It is of no use for these children. For these children, the windows, the slum area in which they live, only it is their world. a narrow street sealed with a lit sky, far, far from rivers, caves, and stars of the world. A narrow street. Here, the poet describes the way their colony has been stabilized. The streets are narrow and they just open towards sky. Sunshine also could not reach there properly. Far, far from river. So they have no access of river. They have no access of caves. Caves, a place of highland. Okay, and stars of the world. So they are deprived in every way. They, there is no opportunity which the world offers. They cannot reach to the nature, even they are devoid of the nature. Okay, even they cannot reach to the rivers, caves, stars. They cannot think about them. They cannot explore about them. Okay, dear students. So this is in the second stanza. So let us discuss the points which we have discussed, which we have read in second stanza. So the poet described the walls. They are faded. They are faded, sour walls of the classroom. Faded, sour walls of the classroom. They are of cream color. The map of civilized rich. Civilized means here rich world is on the wall. What more on the wall? Shakespeare's bust, the picture of belled Tyrolese Valley, the picture of belled Tyrolese Valley. So these are the things which are shown on the map. So dear students, with these lines the poet wants to tell us there are two types of world. One is the world where these slum children live. This is pitiable. They are deprived in every way. They do not have basic amenities. They are being exploited. They are lacking proper education. And on the other hand, the another map which has been shown on the wall, the world of civilized people, the world of rich people, and that map is just being imposed on the children because it is of no use for the children as they live in slum areas, slum surrounding, where no basic facilities are there. So this map is of no use. On the map, uh, another world, civilized world, rich world has been shown. Shakespeare's bust, Shakespeare's head, and the picture of Belle Tyrolese Valley. Such beautiful things, such great poet is shown on the map. So the map has the different world which is totally contrast to the world where the children live. So what we have read in the first and second stanza, let us once again discuss. So dear students, in this poem, the poet Stephen Spender describes the pitiable condition of the slum children. Here he talks about a slum classroom where the boys and girls who are sitting in the classroom, they are the victim of malnutrition. They are not getting proper food, they are underfed. Their condition is worst. A paper seeming boy, a lean and thin boy, a wet down girl, so a girl depressed due to burden of poverty. A boy who is reciting his father's nail disease. So a boy who is inherited his father's nail disease. So here the poet gives us example of some children who are in pitiable condition. Then further the poet describes the appearance of classroom. The foul smell is coming in the classroom. The walls are sore. The foul smell is coming. They are colorless. They are faded. Their color is faded cream. And in that classroom where they are devoid of the basic things, in that classroom a map of civilized world is put, in which Belle Tyrolese Valley, Belle flowery, beautiful Tyrolese Valley of Austria has been shown. Shakespeare's picture is also there, and the dome riding on the cities of civilized world also there. So the world which is shown in the map is totally different from the world where the children live in. Where the children live, that map is totally different from this world. The map which is shown on the wall, this is the map which is being imposed by rich people on these children who have been exploited. On the wall, the names of the people who have donated for the school has been written. So here, dear students, through the map, whatever is shown to the children, it is of no use for them. The line open-handed map awarding the world its world, open-handed map awarding the world its world, tells us that the map which has been made by the powerful people, rich people, this map is just being imposed on the children because it is of no use for them. Okay, so it's all about today's video. Dear students, we have discussed 2 stanzas. The rest stanzas will be discussed in the next video. Already we have discussed main points of the poem, poetic devices of the poem. So once again we will be discussing all these things, and we will be also doing stanza based question. We will also be practicing. So thank you for watching this video. See you tomorrow.